Grüezi miteinander, Gregory von Lebe here. Guys, let me preface this 2-hour interview with a small intro. Denis Vasilev is a 11 times kettlebell world champion, and I'm really blessed and I appreciate the fact that I was able to conduct this 2-hour interview with him. It was not only about talking about kettlebells in itself, the history, the training, the sport, the differences between the styles and all that kind of stuff. It was also about him critiquing my form so I can improve, and what he shared, the knowledge, the insights, I want to share it with you guys because I think you will benefit from this just as much as I have. And if you just discovered the kettlebell, you're going to love this one because now you're going to learn from one of the greatest minds in kettlebell training and kettlebell sports. Don't forget to like and subscribe and enjoy. Now, Dennis, I started with Steve Cotter in June 2019. And after that, I really took a deep dive into kettlebells, and he already mentioned you. And so when I started following you, I really got the sense of what, you're like a surgeon, the precision in your technique. I'm watching other athletes as well, but I think how you go about it. And I did a reaction video to your video where you were talking about the warm-up session where you're warming up with a 24 and then you start with the 32. And I really love what you said. You say, I'm going through the phases. I'm going through how does the hand insertion feel? Where does my elbow land? And that really humbles me because you're a professional, you're a world champion, and you still think about the phases.
Well, that's what makes you professional. Professionally, it's not about the weight. That's not about weight. Maybe eventually, at final stage, we'll also look on result, but it's first of all, that's approach to training process. For me, a person looks professional, amateur, depends on how he handling or she the routine. And it's a professional approach to training. It will be very unprofessional, to just, grab double 32s and start lifting them. Doesn't matter how your technique looks like because it's just against the rules of safety and like all this stuff. So that's why, I'm narrow specialized, Steve, I'm so grateful to Steve. I'm honestly, sometimes just asking like it's, why he's so nice to me, he's such a great man, and he's definitely just brought kettlebells to the next level of popularity. He spread it all over the world, but I think it's actually I feel like it will be way much harder for me to teach without Steve existing because kettlebell sport is quite a hard product to sell. It's very specific, and Steve, he just, great fitness expert, and he, introducing it from kind of more like approachable, fun, angle where, he teaching basic stuff. Steve, he's a great kettlebell lifter himself. He was in Russia, even before I started competing on international competitions. He was, I think, in the championship of Russia 2005 or 6. So he definitely have a great understanding of kettlebell sport also, but his courses mostly started with kettlebell introduction from all of the angles, and many places where I was teaching, usually guys have experience of kettlebells with Steve, and it's something great, like Steve, he's introducing, okay guys, that's kettlebell, and you can do lots of stuff with it. And then when you learn it, because kettlebell sport, that's not for everyone, not everyone wants to be there. Their training so painful and so
but if I may say something, Dennis, we teach it to our clients in what I've learned from Steve. And I've invited him. He was 2 days in our studio, and we've certified in the IKFF and CKT and CKT2. We both certified, Angie and me. And then when we started digging into kettlebells and when I was watching you and all these other athletes, this is where I adopted the style. And this is how we do the workouts now on our YouTube channel, as well as with our clients. And we always teach it that way because like it is the most efficient way, right, to train with kettlebells. And this is, if we could segue, maybe, I mean, we're already started talking, and just my question is, what is the right thing? Where did it originate? So because we have, it's maybe not a debate, but you know, on YouTube we get these comments on a regular basis. People don't understand the rec rest position. People don't understand what it means to even lift the kettlebell with your legs, or the snatch, you know, doing the good boy sports snatch, all these different phases and nuances. And so many people just got the popularity from Pavel, how he teached it. And Steve told me some stories, but now with you, I have somebody who's from Russia. So I really want to understand.
That's interesting. Actually, in Russia, there never been any hardstyle or fitness with bells ever. Pavel, I don't know Pavel in person. It seems like he had experience of kettlebell sport in Russia when back then when he was in Russia, and again seems like he's just this kind of a great. Just an expert of a fitness of a human body, like a gifted coach, and he just looked on this tool and he said, okay, that's what I was doing with it, you know. But there is also other things we can do with this kettlebell, and when he moved to States, he just create this whole hardstyle thing, and you know, it's definitely like it's kind of a fitness with kettlebells, but it's not. I mean, fitness where you just use kettlebell instead of dumbbell or barbell.
Yeah.
But it's not exactly the same. It's actually quite different because of just unique shape of kettlebell or of its balance.
Yes.
So that's why, you know, when you do even like military press or crawls and then absolutely new exercises like actually you can do Turkish get up with dumbbell, but again, right, the gravity center is different, so it's much more difficult to balance and dangerous to balance dumbbell, especially heavy dumbbell, but with kettlebell, because it's shifting the weight to almost
forearm, right?
To almost the middle of your forearm. It's more doable to balance it, so it's kind of it's open the new possibilities and new exercises, but it's have nothing to do with kettlebell sport at all. And how it's all start is actually the very first thing, it simply was the tool of measure of weight.
Yes.
It was like all open markets. And it was just, you know, something, it's like they was weighing some heavy things, like, I don't know, the cow or the bag of rice or whatever, you know, something.
So you had to counterbalance,
you know, kilograms. So they just was, you know, using and then had this handle, and what's you know, kind of history says, or like fairy tales or whatever it is, that this salesman's, like after the day of work, you know, after a cup of beers or wine, whatever, they will just, you know, say, okay, you know, they start throwing this bells, who will throw it higher, you know.
Who's strong?
Actually, so kind of the first kind of athletic use of kettlebells was juggling. Actually, juggling, the oldest thing, even before kettlebell sport.
That's one of the first thing that's actually done with kettlebells, juggling.
So from these open markets, kettlebell get recognized in circuits.
Yes.
Right. So all this like a strongman. So they was like this guy Valentin Dikul. He's like on the internet. Well, he just have a super heavy bell, and he just did amazing tricks
and
with
drops
it.
it on his neck and does stuff like this.
Well, he was doing just steel balls without any handles, but he also did kettlebells. So that was the things that was on the beginning of 20th century, like like very first years, just 1910s, 1920s, kettlebells start approaching in circuits. But then after Second World War, military kind of get interested in this tool, because that was kind of sorts of maintaining the Soviet army in a good shape, and okay, what tool we can use, and it just they was looking for cheapest most effective way to do it, and instead of carrying the gym all over place with plates and bars and all this stuff. So they say, okay, tool, we can just give it 2 hands to each of the soldier, so they will carry it for free, and then they will working out with it. So that's how it starts to be a kind of athletic tool. And it was the first coaches or first methodists was Olympic weightlifting coaches. It was one federation first. It was Kettlebell sport was created as a department of Olympic weightlifting, and they was mimicking the exercises of Olympic weightlifting. And back then, when
where it all
was,
comes from, clean jerk and all that.
Yeah, and when it was 3 lifts in Olympic weightlifting, it was snatch, jerk, and press. If you remember, it was Olympic weightlifting. They used to do a barbell press also. Kettlebell sport also had 3 exercises: jerk, snatch, and press. But then when Olympic weightlifting canceled press because of some research and kind of impact on the low back, so they left only 2 exercises: jerk and snatch. Kettlebell sport also had only jerk and snatch, and even my first coach, he was a regional Olympic weightlifting coach. His never was a kettlebell lifter like Timofey Nikolaev from Kaliningrad. He was master of sport in Olympic weightlifting in Soviet Union. Because the dynamic phases of the jerk and snatch very well. Just a long answer to your short question.
Yep, I'm listening.
Where it came from, this rack position and all this stuff. So it came from Olympic weightlifting, and just the kind of difference that it's again sense and the whole kind of technique of exercise or dynamic phase is very similar from Olympic weightlifting jerk and snatch. Actually, Olympic weightlifting jerk, it's actually clean and jerk. It's in fact a long cycle, because they clean it, and they jerk it, and it's only 1 rep. Right.
So, and where does this come from with the long cycle? Why don't you just don't you call it in kettlebell sport just the clean and jerk with doubles and that's it?
A long cycle was invented much later. So if the first official record of kettlebell sport competitions in biathlon, jerk and snatch in 1947. Long cycle first time was experimented in 1997. It was early, it's the youngest exercise of kettlebell sport. It's most popular now, but it's the youngest one. And 1997 it was like experimental lift without any scoring. But then kind of people like it, federation like it, and they approve it for 1998, and it start running since then. Before it was just a jerk and snatch. And again, the barbell, the difference in the rack positions, that barbell is a 1 piece.
Yeah.
So that's why the whole idea to hold the weight as close to backbone as possible. So that's why Olympic weightlifters, they hold the back straight, and bar is very close here. So that's why you obviously hold the posture, but you still push from the legs, right? You push, you under squat, you catch. And with kettlebells, when it's 2 kettlebells, even if you will think, okay, I will also do it with a straight back, it's just much harder to stabilize these 2 bells on your shoulders compared to barbell, because it's have no connection here to in between bells. So that's why, like, if you will go 10 minutes like that, it will be less comfortable. So that's why they say, hey, but there is a benefit from it. First, they look on it as the kind of weakness, but then they said, but hey, now we can actually just completely relax our back and
yes.
just stuck elbows into pelvis, which
Yes.
makes it even
Yes.
more efficient, because as long as weight under the backbone, there is no load on it, and that's the
Yes.
reason why you can curve your back.
That's what, and the
Because
lower back is safe. Yeah.
Because you just transfer the weight, from the top of the forearm bone to the bottom of it, and pelvis and legs right away. So that's how the rack position changes. But the rest is the same. You also kick it
Yes.
with your legs. You catch it on the straight arms. You straighten your arms. Well, and snatch with kettlebells, it's it's just a one kettlebell, not two, but it's also just a straight. Well, that's actually like when I'm teaching snatch, I'm often just reminding guys that it's very related to Olympic weightlifting snatch. And when we snatch the bar, we under squat, right? No one snatch the bar like
straight. They go into a double dip. Yeah.
Right, so you pull it and you're squatting under it. So that's why efficient snatch, especially when you have troubles with a hand insertion, with going to 10-minute set, you actually want to catch it with a dip, and that gives you a little bit easier hand insertion and a little bit easier catch, especially if your grip starts to get tired. You lost the power, and it's difficult for you to snatch it all the way to the top. So you just pull it out and you squat under it, and then you get to the top fixation. Johnny Benitez, he's actually a master of this technique. Like if you watch his very last reps in snatch, when his grip tired, he's squatting all like Olympic weightlifter.
Did you say Denisov?
No, Johnny Benitez, the smallest one, in 60 kilograms.
Because I saw Denisov, when he snatches and he's at the end, he starts curling his arm and his form changes drastically. And this is something. But I think that's something that happens. It's about getting those reps out. And I think in the end, it's probably not about form. It's about kicking those reps, right? So then maybe
muscle reps, this bent arm
muscle reps, you call them.
Explanation. Well, a friend of mine called it Rambo reps.
Rambo reps.
So the reason for this bent arm is when your grip is fresh, when it's enough like grip strength in it, we benefiting from pendulum and momentum, right? We swing it wide, but when it's no power at all in your grip, you cannot afford momentum, because this momentum is opening your fingers. So that's why when your grip is gone, you start to benefit from the bigger muscles, and you, instead of going for swing and pendulum, you're switching to up and down, vertical trajectory, where you drop it, and you kind of getting a force absorption by your biceps, and forearm, you counting less on your fingers, you catch it like that, and then you pull it this way also. So you kind of, you risking less to lose the ball from your hand. That's the reason. But it's unlike unlikely technique. You ideally don't want to snatch like that, and usually the reason for that is some mistakes that you did prior that you was doing something at the beginning of your set that caused you early fatigue of your grip. It's either can be too fast pace, that a little bit above your abilities, or not good enough precision. You're mistaking a little bit, catching it in a little bit wrong place, this handle, so it's pulling you to the wrong direction, or you kind of have a little bit shallow insertion. So it's like a leaking tire. It's losing air a little bit. You're not noticing it first, but it's getting you at the end.
So that's the reason why I do it. So it's because you lose grip out of whatever reason you did. Maybe you did something wrong, you went too fast or whatever, and then you start, depending on your larger muscle groups, that you can still kick those reps out. That's the reason, right? That's why they start curling their arms. If I
Well, yeah, snatch exercise. It's among three exercises of kettlebell sport. It's the most I call it most cyclistic exercise, if we can say so. You know, like if you're talking about cyclistic sports, you know, like a rowing or track and field. The strength component is the smallest in snatch versus long cycle and jerk. When you do a long cycle, have the biggest strength component. It requires quite a decent amount of power, especially if you're talking about 32s, and you experiencing it when you clean it, not when you jerk it. When you jerk it, you actually never like jerk exercises. If your technique is right, it's actually easiest exercise of kettlebell sport because you never actually experiencing the weight of kettlebells on your muscles. Only the first clean, but then elbow standing on the pelvis, you kind of resting, you know, you're right, just balancing it, then you kick it by your legs, and then you're catching on your frame also on the straight arms, you fixating on your frame too, and then when you drop, you're dropping elbows to your pelvis again. But when you do long cycle and when you swing, that's where you feel, okay, that's double 32s. You know, that's where you feel it. When you catch it here, and then when you pull it, that's you cannot cheat it with any technique, any momentum. Well, I mean, of course, you know, the good swing back and good swing forward, you know, building some momentum and helping you, but you're still dealing with this, you know, gravity and full weight of kettlebells. So long cycle requires the most strength. Jerk, kind of on the middle. Snatch requires less because it's only one bell. So the most reason, the most reason of fails in snatch, it's 90% because of technique issues, because of the grip.
Yeah.
So you're doing something wrong with the grip, your grip getting pumped, and you cannot hold it in your hand anymore. It's very rare when you stop snatching because you just have no power to lift it, right? Well, it happens sometimes that, you know, okay, you feel like you're a bit short of breath, you know, that you can feel like your endurance not on the level, but it's fixable very easy in snatch, and it's like maybe 5-10%, you know, of any troubles you have, you know, around snatch, that it's your aerobic failure, but mostly that's grip. So
understanding.
So that's why these guys, you know, like you can see in their eyes like this frustration. They say, what's going on? I'm so strong. I'm ready to go. I can do 10 more minutes, but just my fingers not cooperating with me anymore. You know, like he looking on it and he dropping it. You know, so yeah.
So that's it. Yeah. See, that's the reason why I need it, and I probably need to continuously talk to you about that stuff, because I'm so interested. You know, I'm not from the athlete side. I'm not an athlete. I'm a coach, and I love teaching it to folks. But I'm digging into kettlebell so deeply now since the last 1.5 years that I want to understand almost anything about it. So that's one aspect that I really love, is just understanding that the snatch is more the aerobic exercise, and it's more of a question of technique, while the long cycle is more the power exercise, while still, you know, have to maintain technique. And something that you said in that video that really struck me as well, and it goes to show how humble you are, is you said when you start with the 32s, I mean, mostly when I see your sets and you keep busting out those reps, it's like, man, you got it down pat, it's all good, you're safe. And in that video you say, I'm starting with the doubles with the 32s, and they're kind of scary at first. And and I like that mentality, because when I look at how you do it and all those titles that you have, one would assume that, hey, you're safe. But you're like, nah, you gotta stay careful. And that's what I.
Oh no, kettlebells, they humbling you every time you touch them. It's
like
you know
that.
well, they don't care how many times you're world champion. You know, they still weigh 32 kilograms each. You know, so you see this sport, professional sport, especially, it's unusual state for human body. It's not something you earn once and then you benefit from in the rest of your life. It's just a short, peak, moment of glory. That's it. It's shy for one evening. You did competitions, you enjoy it on your evening, you awake on the morning, that's it. You have a clean sheet of paper, from scratch. You need to start all over again, your preparation. That's how our physiology works. We cannot maintain the peak of our physical conditions. Well, at least like what I learned, it's 12 weeks. That's a guess, not longer than 12 weeks. So building up, you peak, and then you must to reset. Because if you don't, that's where, it's like this, you will start getting short of recovery. Doesn't matter how, like if you will keep pushing, the champion weights and champion pace, you'll realize like tissue connections, get tired, inflammations can start, focus start losing, you start missing phases, start doing mistakes, and you eventually will hurt yourself. So,
injury risk,
yeah, so that's why, this, again, that's a professional approach, you
and I like that. I like that professional approach really teaches us, guys who are enjoying it and teaching it to other people. This professional approach teaches me even more to respect the weight, stay humble, think about the phases. And in our last workout, after I watched your video about your mindset, how you approach the bell, how you approach the phases, how you approach it in and out, it gave me the chance, in the workout that we did, it gave me the chance to think about the phases even more, to additionally humble myself, because when we take a look at the videos, I'm really looking forward to your feedback, what you think on my form. But I'm really getting the feel now with the 24. It's pretty safe. Now I'm started to lift with 28s, but not not in the competition style, just doing swings, clean and jerks, snatches, and getting a vibe of the 28. I also lifted with the 32, but 32 is just, I never lifted with two 32s though, but one is just, it's crazy. And so watching you do it with this professional approach, this is how I want to do it with the coaching, with understanding it to its utmost potential, and also the history. That's why I wanted to do this interview as well. And if I may segue into this question, now that we've touched on it a bit. Now, I don't want to talk bad about anybody. Just want to clear things up. Pavel says in his book that he trained with kettlebells in the Soviet times, right? In the Soviet Union. And Steve said the same like you said. He said, well, it didn't exist, or the Russians don't know about no hardstyle. So we can safely say, with your background as well, it's his invention. It's not something that he took from Russia. It's his style, right?
Well, again, it's like, imagine it's even almost says, okay, let's say this, soldiers or whatever gym, they have only kettlebells. So, well, of course, I can imagine that these guys, they have no any other choice. They have no dumbbells. They have anything. I can imagine they was, doing as what we call the GPP, general physical preparation. They was most likely was doing, also bicep screws and bench press with kettlebells. So, and like even I'm quite sure that even in this far times, even coaches probably was recommending to their students to do some additional exercises, with kettlebells, maybe like jump squats with kettlebells, maybe swings with kettlebells. But I mean, it's never was like sold, like a product. It's never was shaped, as okay, that's hardstyle with kettlebells. That's what makes you fit. It's all it's again, it's like I'm quite sure that someone was doing swings even before Pavel with kettlebells, right? But Pavel, he is the one who actually organized all this possible exercise. He made a system for it, not like just random, exercises here there. But he's the one who name it, who creates some training programs for it, made some progression, shape it. And
he marketed it.
And marketed and say, hey, that's actually what you can do even without kettlebell sport. Even again, himself, he probably was doing it to benefit, his kettlebell sport performance. I know he probably was competing for his division or his city, whatever. But he probably started realizing that, okay, that's very narrow, that's very hardcore. Okay, I can handle it, but what about my girlfriend, or my father, but they also wants to be fit. So what they can do with this kettlebell, if they are not superior athletes? Can this tool help them, to be fit? And then he probably is just clicking in his head, as as we see now, that it's such a brilliant thing. You have just couple bells.
And
you don't need anything else. It's cheap. It's at home. You just need to, just know exercises, to do, and then they have different weight. So like even most of us kettlebell lifters, we working out with a couple. As a couples, you're working out with your lady. I'm
with
working
Angie,
out with my with my wife, and it's like even families. Okay, when kettlebell lifters get kids, there are kids lifting bells. And there's a plastic 1 kilogram kettlebells, 2 kilogram kettlebells. So it's just so great. It's and it's only color makes difference. That's why actually our community is so tight. Like even myself, I'm working out with in the gym with my students, and we all feel, even when we have things to talk about, because the training routine, well, I'm kind of shifted a little bit to kettlebell sport, but it's the same story about the hardstyle, that okay, different ways, but methodology is similar. Like like when I'm doing 10 sets of one, all of my students understand what it's about, because they also do their 10 sets of one. Well, not on 32s, maybe, whatever weight they are, 24s, 20s, but they understand, 1 minute work, 1 minute rest. Okay, we can discuss it, know how hard the last minute, how short the breaks, or 7-minute test.
If I may just jump in, and what's just your general opinion about hardstyle compared to good boy or kettlebell lifting? Because before you answer this, just want to preface this, because what we see, or what I see on Instagram, on social, on our YouTube channel, is and that Steve even said this. I'm really looking forward to your opinion on this. Steve said this. He said, when he and Pavel worked together, Pavel is a great businessman, and he knows how to market and sell stuff. And Steve kind of shied a little bit away from this. So he's not that, he called it himself, not that good of a businessman. And so that's the reason why you probably see that, in my opinion, the hardstyle, this invention from Pavel, how he trains with kettlebells, grew so popular among the world. I mean, it's great. People are training with kettlebells. That's awesome stuff. The difference is just, we see comments on Instagram, on YouTube, where people are talking bad about the form of the kettlebell lifting side of things. Like I said, not understanding the rack rest position and stuff, because they only understand hardstyle, or they only think this is how you're supposed to lift. I'm just paraphrasing one comment that I got, where somebody said, why do you lift your toes off the floor? Why do you lift your heels off the floor? And I'm saying, hey, that's when you work with gravitational forces, that's totally fine. So I'm just wondering, what's your opinion on if we could say, if there's even a debate between hardstyle and kettlebell lifting, and that people sometimes misunderstand it?
Well, it's this type of reaction. It's again, whatever experience you got first. It's much more difficult to change your habit, than establish a new one. So that's why somehow this kettlebell was introduced to the world as the hardstyle. So that's why when people see kettlebell sport, they say, oh, that's wrong, because that's not what we was told. It's actually exactly opposite story in Russia, because Russia, so there is no any hardstyle. When Russian guys seeing, someone doing hardstyle, they think, what they do? First, where they found these ugly kettlebells with this thick, large handles where you cannot do anything with it. It's just, it's just some broken bells. Where they found it.
What happened?
So it's just not enough knowledge. Let's say so. And then also, well, you see, it's community. As larger the audience, as lower the level of knowledge, if it's fair to say so. I mean, most likely confused comments going from people who's quite new physical activity in general. You know, they are amateurs or they just started, so they most likely just, you know, exercise, working out, but they're not doing programming. So that's why, you know, they just, you know, well, how to say, wasn't studying, you know, differences of sport performance and fitness performance. And opposite, whatever field is that, it's mixed martial arts, it's any sport, but if it's a kind of, you know, just well, even like, you know, moderate experienced coach, he is catching it right away. You know, he don't need explanation. He say, okay, I understand what this guy doing, you know, why he's doing like that. It's efficiency. Sport is something you do for a final result. It's like, you know, kettlebell lifters, they don't care. They have belly or not, they're beautiful or not. They just, you know, as long as you can do 90 reps long cycle, you're the guy, you know. Doesn't matter, you know.
Just quickly jump in. I don't want to interrupt you, but just, you know, when you look at, let's say like a power lifter doing a deadlift, okay, so he's maxing out for the deadlift, so he follows all the rules, he follows all the techniques. Now here comes along somebody else who's doing the deadlift just for fitness, but still using the same biomechanics, using the same exercise regimen, using the same idea how to do a deadlift. Now here come kettlebells. Somebody's doing the hardstyle swing, and then you compare it with the good old boy sport, with the kettlebell lifting swing. So it's just two different, it's the same exercise, yet these two different approaches were probably sometimes.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So
yeah, so sorry. Yeah, it's just a super interesting topic we're talking about. Sorry, you know, me being impatient. It just another way to look on it is there is the line where, well, when it comes to kettlebells, where fitness kind of, you know, stop and professional league start, and I think that's the line of 24 kilograms. It's either kettlebell sport, it's hardstyle for men 24, for girls 16. So anything below that can be considered as a fitness safe, you know, type of activity. Where, well, quite, you know, difficult to get, you know, hurt or get any troubles with that. When you pass this line, either it's a Turkish get-ups, either that's a kettlebell sport, that's where you're stepping on the field where the risk of getting hurt is higher, because you entering the professional division, you know, that the weight that heavier that you actually need to be fit, and you're doing it for some different reason. And you, like, you know, if you're talking about like myself or any professional kettlebell, so you're doing to be an athlete, you're doing to be a competitive athlete, you want to be a national champion, you want to be a world champion, you're challenging your abilities.
Yes, goal is different.
It's not good enough for you to be fit. You want to be best of the best, or you want to you're bothered with a question in your head. Okay, how much can I take of this? You know, that's what all of the athletes do. You know, and sometimes we're failing, you know, and we, you know, getting up, but we have no doubts about it. We just have this passion, you know, we just want to do the best of the best, and we know that it's dangerous, and that's actually what keeps us running sometimes, you know. We just sucker of pain, you know, and risk and adrenaline, because we just want to figure it out. It's important to understand that, you know, that it's, you know, it's possible to still stay safe there, but you need to be super careful and doing that.
You know, it's interesting that you say that's where people step on the professional realm with these weights, because I'm now reading through, because it's been recommended to me so many times, I'm now reading through Pavel's book, Simple and Sinister, which I like the approach of just what I really like. There's some good stuff that he's saying that I really like. Is just to keep it simple, keep it with the basics. Don't confuse it too much. You see so many confusing exercises sometimes, especially with kettlebells. And now you say it's professional realm, and he advises it for folks who are strong. You know, you got to start with a 28, with a 32. Where I'm looking at it, and with the experience with our people, with our clients, our goal is most people want to lose weight, and none of my clients have yet picked up a 32 kilogram kettlebell except for a farmer's walk. Right. So I'm thinking, now you say this, it makes sense to me. It's the 28, 24, 28, 32, where it gets really heavy. And I really feel it. You know, when I do the Turkish get up with the 32, I have to be highly focused. But when you look at the other side, like what Pavel's teaching is like, this is where you have to be if you want to be strong, you see. And now you're saying, no, that's professional weights. And now I'm seeing these differences again. And so that's that's probably where I started gravitating towards Steve Cotter, and why I'm not gravitating to the kettlebell sports style of things and listening to you, because it's I mentioned it many times now, but it's that humble aspect of just, and kind of like the sucker of pain style that you said, but still respecting the weights and watching for perfect form for efficiency. And while you see other stuff or other kettlebell training methodologies, it's just, you have to be the strongest, the baddest, and now you pick up the weight, or otherwise you're not strong.
I'm thinking, like, if we kettlebells, I think that's the best tool for strength and conditioning. That's the tool to develop kind of evenly balanced abilities possibly can exist. Kind of a CrossFit philosophy. Your strengths and your endurance and your balance. When you do kettlebells, one ability can support or compensate another. That's the great thing about or functional for maybe that's another word. I'm not sure that kettlebell is the best tool for absolute strength. If we're talking getting stronger, like let's say if I have target get stronger, or I want to get my students stronger, why to create bicycle second time? There is a powerlifting for that. And that's the best tools and safest tools to build strengths. Squats, deadlift with barbell, bench press.
That's it.
It's balanced. It's amplitude. It's a less complicated trajectory and technique. It's simpler with the barbell.
And you mentioned that in the video with the symmetry. I really liked it. I didn't even think about it. If you have one piece of equipment, I really got that down. I really love what you said. If you have one piece of equipment, you have actually one unit to worry about. But if you have kettlebells, you have two units to worry about. So your arm have to work with each other. It's different. So and just to answer to that question, when it's about because I have that mindset as well. I think you can use kettlebells to. Because there's some feedback of some folks even on our channel who say, well, working with the kettlebell improved my deadlift, where I would say, yeah, probably it. But when you, for example, listen to Mark Ripto from Starting Strength, when you talk about the powerlifting moves, it's all about, you have to do the powerlifting moves, become stronger because these exercises are made to get you real strong. And when it comes to kettlebells, you would more like, for me to understand it clearly, you would more say, hey, it's conditioning, so strength and endurance, but it's not about just getting the strongest. All right.
I'm totally see sense of kettlebell lifting being useful for powerlifting exercises, because actually the problem of the powerlifting is the weak tissue connections, and like even had experience on the past times when I was a manager of the gym in Russia, like we was hosting powerlifting competitions, at least couple pectorals couple bicepses, every single competitions, torse,
Yeah.
on its connection. So what's well, again, I'm not expert of the powerlifting. Maybe I do something wrong, but I mean, I understand something wrong. But at least through my experience and education, what I understand is that it's really stimulating the strength and even size of your muscles. But because of the low repetitions and quite extreme weight right away, it's not really building the ligaments and tendons, strengths and tissue connections. And that's the weak part. Because of the short amplitudes, never locking the elbow, the shorter range of motion. That's when you never fully extend. Let's say your leg on arm. It's great from the power perspective. It's easier to just grab it with the muscle strength, but it's not great for health of your joints. And when you do kettlebell sport. Or kettlebells, even hardstyle, that's a lower weight, but it requires the wider range of motion, and it's more complex and difficult trajectory. And that's what developed. First, it's activating the small muscles that actually kind of not giving you power, but give you stability and safety and strength around each vertebra, around the joints, like a smaller muscles, that you can activate by only rotations or more like stabilizers muscles. That's many muscles in our body, right? So for deadlift, you need a lumbar, hamstrings, glutes, but there are much more smaller muscles, which not really developing by doing a deadlift, only big muscles grabbing it. But when you do lighter, and a little bit more kind of complex movement, that's what makes you, prepared from the frame side, and that's, I think, just makes you you just mentioned that the one gentleman has mentioned that it's improved his deadlift because of that. I think that he just made his backbone stronger a little bit. Maybe he improved the range of motion a bit. So he not just make his big muscles stronger, but he made his body more advanced, and that's gave him this extra maybe 5-10% to actually his performance in his deadlift or squats or whatever. So it's for sure it's a good tool, even a hardstyle. But that's like even saying, okay, what's better for your health, what's less dangerous, what's more dangerous, hardstyle or kettlebell sport, and it's all related to training methodology. And either way, I think that there is a way. Well, I'm for sure have opinions that even hardstyle, you should start light, even if you want to do it for strengths, you still need to establish proper technique. And technique established by the big part of it is a muscle memory, and muscle memory established by multiple repetitions. And with heavyweight, you simply cannot do. So that's why it's like again, Olympic weightlifting preparation in Russia. I know that guys, it's almost like a joke, but it's kind of true that the first year the guys lifting the brooms, they're not allowed. They're not allowed to barbell, because they need to, the coaches just kicking their butts to make sure that they hold the posture right, they're standing on their heels, their arms straight, like everything sharp, under squat is quick enough, and then and doing bunch of back extensions, like hundreds, thousands back extensions, per year.
That. That's great.
So same, and that's actually like what I know the story of the CrossFit also. When it just started, it was like it exploded, was so many CrossFit boxes, and people start to get hurt. Because the guys start going on weights, and start amateurs start crushing Olympic weightlifting and snatch, jerk, and
which is so tricky with a barbell. I mean, I'm understanding it now from a certain perspective with the kettlebells. I can safely say that I start to understand the exercise in itself and the phases and all the kind of stuff. But with a barbell, where you can use much heavier weight, this seems so tricky. So that's why I think CrossFit has a great idea behind it, because it's way better, at least in my opinion, than sitting in a studio and just pumping some machines. And the community vibe, there's so many good things about CrossFit, but now I really get the bigger picture. Like when it explodes and the popularity grows, this is where, you know, problems sometimes start to begin, because so many people do it, and so many coaches give certifications or whatever, and then you have people in charge who don't know how to take care of their folks. And I like what you say. It's even in hardstyle, don't matter what you, because that's my opinion as well. And I see it with experience with clients. Start light, start easy, get the flow, understand the phases, understand the vibe, understand the exercise. And so I see we're on the same page here.
Yeah, and right now it's a less CrossFit box, but they all like great now mostly. So it's like quality now replace the volume, you know. So it's you know, like now, you know, they learn this lesson. It's like they start to pay way more attention to technique aspect, to preparation, you know, to make sure, you know, take it slow, and it works. So same story with the hardstyle, with kettlebell sport. You know, if you patient enough to first, you know, establish the right lifting technique, and also make sure that your kind of basic startup abilities, you know, on the good enough level to actually try this exercise, you know, well, and do some, you know, GPP, like improve your cardio, improve your mobility. You need mobility for hardstyle also. For these Turkish get-ups, you know, you cannot do it with a stiff, you know, upper body and chest. You should be flexible enough. So you should do some yoga or stretching.
Yeah, and would you say that the Turkish get-up is not something that originated in kettlebell lifting? Is it something that comes from a different place? Has nothing to do with kettlebell lifting, so to speak.
Kettlebell sport.
Kettlebell sport, yeah.
Well, yeah, because, well, again, kettlebell sport, it's only 3 exercises.
Yeah.
It's long cycle, jerk, and snatch. That's all. There's nothing else in kettlebell sport. All other stuff is well, it's maybe a little bit confusing, all this words, because some people, you know, they look on kettlebell sport, they think at kettlebell lifting, because it's actually kettlebell lifting, because person lifting kettlebell.
It's kettlebell sport.
Like what we call the kettlebell sport, what I do, what I specialized in, is double long cycle, 2 kettlebells, double jerk, and 1 arm snatch with only 1 hand switch. And that's very important criteria. That's what make technique so special. When you allow multi-hand switch and snatch, you don't need to worry about your precision.
You can do whatever you want. You
can have any grip and it will work. But when you have only 1 chance to switch, then you really start to pay attention and try to be perfect with, you know, with the style of your catch, with style of your insertion and breathing properly. Same with double long cycle and double jerk. You cannot put it down. And again, if you can, well, then just, okay, whatever, my shoulders pump. I do whatever. Down, I shake it a little bit. But when you cannot throw it down, then you start to think, okay, I need to really kind of get a good rack position and good balance to release my shoulders a little bit. You know, I need to have an excellent toe fixation, and that's, you know, that's what makes this training so effective. You know, eventually when you actually able to do 10-minute set non-stop,
which is so cool. Why, and you know, it's just I'm coming from that side. I'm coming from the side of, you know, when I compare it, because, you know, I'm not an athlete, but I have a competitive vibe, at least in some areas of my life. And I think when we look at 2 styles, and now we start snatching, we both grabbed the 24, and now we do a 10-minute set, and we're both allowed to only do 1 arm switch, and you have to put it down multiple times. That means, hey, just my technique is superior, or the style how I'm training is superior when it comes to training like that. So this is, if I can put the kettlebell down every time, or with a long cycle as well, clean and jerk, and I can put it down every time, I don't have to think about anything. I don't have to think about the resting, and just what you mentioned. And so that's why sometimes when people ask me, and our viewers ask me, I'm always saying, listen, I'm biased. I think kettlebell sport is the best way to train with kettlebells because I love it, and I love the nuance. I love the phases. I love understanding your technique. I love when I feel like when I'm doing the snatch and then I feel something's wrong, something's off, I have to go over the books. I'm watching the stuff. I'm thinking, man, I gotta be, it's like a technician. And that's why I'm saying I love that. And if you're more into simple stuff, just slamming the stuff, pressing the stuff, swinging the stuff like it's, then do whatever pleases you. But I like the technician aspect of it,
Well, you see, it's anything is for free in our life, especially anything good, anything good you got, you need to pay some price for it, for your happiness, for your love, you need to work for it, and for your great shape, same, you need to invest in it, and that's a great, and that's the hard part of kettlebell sport. It's very sensitive to consistency, to inconsistency. You will feel it right away, like in kettlebell sport, because it's not only your physical performance, it's your skill, it's your muscle memory. It needs to be checked,
like
with
that.
some intensity. So it should by at least my own experience, athlete and coach, it's 3 times a week. You need to do kettlebell sport if you want to have progress in your performance. And if you're not able to maintain consistency, you're losing your shape. You cannot stop it. You're just running out of shape. This kettlebell sport shape. You might be again still looking good. You still can be in your body weight, but you will lose the results in kettlebell sport if you will not do it 3 times a week. So, and that's as a coach, that's what I see the most reason of fails or unsuccess of my students. Among everything, like I don't know, like physical ability, strength, technique, endurance, health issues, consistency. Main reason why some people cannot get what they wanted to do. They're capable of it, but they just it's a training cycle, especially if you get ready for competitions, deadlines. Yeah, that's another thing about kettlebell. So you have deadlines, and some people they just don't like deadlines. So February 20th competitions, 10-minute set on 32s.
That's it.
It's all up to me. I can just chill and I can go with no preparation for it, have super hard time. It's all on me. Or I can be in my best shape, I can get my great result. But no one will move this date because I get sick or I was busy or I haven't moved for it. So it's February 20th. So you and like let's say I'm doing programming, there is particular workout should be done. 7-minute set should be done 2 weeks before competitions. We should have 10 sets of one, somewhere like 3 weeks before competition. You skip these trainings, I just cannot squeeze them. You cannot do 7-minute set 2 days before 10-minute set. You lost this opportunity. This time passed. That's it. You just drop your chances to succeed by 20%.
And by not showing up. All. By not showing up. And this is actually something that we see with our personal training clients as well. It's hard for people just to stay consistent 3 coachings per week. People have the problem with the consistency levels just to show up for 3 training sessions per week for a given day. We help people lose weight. So we have 2 packages that are selling the best, where we have people coming up to our gym 3 times a week for 60 days or 90 days with accompanied nutrition coaching, because we want to help people lose weight with training and diet, nutrition. And we see this as well, because now you're mentioning it. And that's probably the reason why I love this style of training so much, because I've been working out consistently in my 11th year now, and not kettlebells, of course. I started intensively with kettlebells in June 2019 after Steve. It was a pivotal moment in my career as a coach. I'm always saying this. But before I was training in the gym, and that's 10 plus years. That's why I'm so hooked to consistency. And that's why we see it. And I think now you mention it, that's the reason why you have not many athletes to count who have this ultimate performance, because it's so hard for people to stay consistent. And yeah.
Mhm.
And one more question. Do you have your students, they all want to be athletes, or do you have just they want to work out and get good with kettlebells?
Most of my students participating in competitions, but just because it's fun. A big reason why kettlebell sport explodes so much internationally wise is just because it's such a great fitness concept. Also, it solves lots of issues of all of the other possible fitness ways, such as consistency. Because doing kettlebell sport, it's much easier for client or student to understand why he or she need to be consistent, and it's much easier for you to explain to your student why. Because myself, I also started as the personal trainer and was doing, just classic programs, from one machine to another.
Yeah.
Standard. And again, I myself as that, I understand that we need to be consistent, but when you're doing just a fitness, like, what's your target? There's no deadlines. And how you will measure your progress? It's pinch your skin. Okay, yeah, we did that. Measure waist, measure biceps, squat, heart rate, blood pressure. But it's something that like a little bit hard to keep track on, and it's not changing that fast, and you don't really see connection with what's happened with your body and what you're doing in the gym, because you simply can sit on the tight diet and change some parameters, so take some medicine, and your heart rate will change. And then strengths, you cannot build up strengths endlessly. You're like, if you're doing weights, so how long you will keep adding plates on your barbell, and then then you hit the wall, and then you're pushing through this wall and you get hurt. But when you do kettlebell sport, then it's so obvious. You make intro to the guy, one arm 12 kilogram, couple swings, couple reps, couple double long cycles, so you did like just 5 reps, and then in a week he can handle 5 minutes set non-stop, and then he did 10 minutes and 80 reps, and then he moved on 14s. And at any point of our training process, if he will ask how I'm doing, I say, just look on your spreadsheet. You even don't need any explanation. Look where you start. You start with 10 reps on 12. Now you do 70 reps with 34s. Here we go. You was on pace 6, now you're on pace 12. And the same story when we're not doing well. It's 100%. If there is no success, that's why I always keeping track of. For myself, every single workout. For my students, I always can find the answer in the spreadsheet why it didn't work out. We missed here. You wasn't in the gym here. You dropped the bells here. Was this? For example, it can be many different. I honestly, I'm using it for my own trainings. I'm learning from my spreadsheets. Analyzing. Let's say, maybe I'm not dropping the bells, but I'm not always happy with my final result. And I'm able to find the answers why I get 83 reps and not 90 reps. Because here was a bit too much travels, like in 1 week, I fly to Mexico and then Philippines and then go back and then compete in States, or something like that, So again, it's in kettlebell sport, you really understand why you're consistent, and what's happening to you. You're getting better or you're getting not, or not. You can see how your endurance change, you can see how your strength change, you can see how you're handling things, and but let's make it very mental, kettlebell sport, and that's the biggest change also. All these rules, it's just on your brain. It's just such a fight with your own personality, because on the one hand you understand that you can quit at any time,
Yeah, you can stop, and that's it.
but you don't want it,
Yeah,
you want
yeah.
to be good, but you also wants to have some fun, and you kind of just wants to chill today, but it's a training day, and just or you did all these intervals, that the 7 minutes is coming, you know that there is no way to escape it, you want to do a bit more intervals training, but that's it, that's
it.
the
That's
time,
it.
and you shouldn't be now.
And
And
you know what's interesting about it? It's just that you have to like this. You have to love this mentality of not only working out with precision. And now now that I'm talking to you, I get it when I'm watching your videos. How with this precision, that's how you're able to manage these weights. And now taking inspired by you and inspired what Steve taught me, it's just the same, that understanding when I was doing the IKFF test with Steve, I was actually that the level 1 was easy, not as easy when you're first starting out. But the level 2 was, I think it was a biathlon. It was jerks. I had to do 40 jerks with 2 20s and 100 snatches with a 20. Where does that put me, actually? If you do it with 2 20s, 40 jerks and 100 snatches?
By the sport ranks.
Yeah.
One second. Well, it's several ranking tables.
Yeah.
I even believe that IKFA even have its own kettlebell sport ranking tables, and IKFA Ken Blackburn responsible, I believe, for kettlebell sport. It's Steve's partner, friend, like a director for kettlebell sport. But if you're talking about IKO, about my organization, then was it under 5 minutes?
Oh, that's a good question.
How long? Well, it's more. Well, let's say it was 5 minutes. And what's your body weight?
My body weight is 70 kilo.
Okay, so it's a lightweight weight division, and you did you said with 20 kilo on kettlebells, 40 jerks and 100 snatches.
Yeah.
So that gives you in kettlebell sport 1 jerk worth 1 point and snatch worth half point.
Yeah.
So you get 50 points for snatch and 40 points for jerk. That's 90 points of biathlon with 20. So by IQ ranking 5 minutes table, sport rank 3, that's 64 points. Rank 2, that's 80 points, and rank 1, that's 100 points. So you're right in between rank 1 and rank 2. And for example, for kettlebell certifications I'm doing, level 2 certification requires practical test of sport rank 2. So you pass.
Cool. That's awesome. That's awesome. And you know what's crazy? I did this in June 2019 when Steve was here with the worstest form you can imagine, because I just learned it and I managed it somehow. And I'm still having nightmares because this followed me, like it still follows me, because it was so was so beastly. But it actually ranked between rank 2 and 1. Wow.
Yeah. I'm only concerned about the time, because I think that 40 jerks with 20s, I think you most likely was under 5 minutes. It's basically 40 reps, that pace 8 reps a minute for jerk. That's considering slow. I'm quite sure your jerk was under 5 minutes, but 100 snatches, that's a pace 20 reps a minute. So that's quite a decent pace. So to manage 100 reps in 5 minutes, you should go 20 reps a minute, and you should manage 50 reps, let's say 2.5 minutes for right, and then switch and do 2.5 minutes for left. So you probably if you wasn't tracking your time,
I was
might
over 5
be a little bit over the time with snatch, but it's something that it's
at
halfway.
Least something. That's cool.
We can say you have reps, and you only you need to improve is just to be able to do it faster. But we also have ranking tables for individual events, and actually if you will do jerk only with double 20s in 5 minutes, you should manage for rank 3 43 reps. Cool. For rank 2, 54 reps. So you was 3 reps short for rank 3 if we're talking about jerk only. And snatch only, that's rank 3 is 60 reps, rank 2 75 reps, and rank 1 is 94 reps. So you actually need only 75 reps with 20 kilogram for rank 2 for snatch only, which
so
also will be enough for practical test. And 75 reps in 5 minutes, that's a pace 15 reps a minute. So I think you're still good.
Probably. That's
by,
cool.
By snatch only.
Because when I look at the 24, when I do a pace, I manage the pace of 22 with a 24 kilo, but just for 1 minute, and then I was gassed and I had to stop. I had to breathe. But that's why I can say for sure I probably didn't get the 20. This is where I started. I think I was doing a 3-minute set with 2 32s. 32s with 2 16s. Let's go.
16s.
Yeah.
What's your best long cycle so far?
With the weight?
Well, let's say with 16s. Have you done 10 minutes with 16s?
Yeah, I've done, but I didn't count. Didn't count the reps.
But what do you think? What was it, like 6 reps a minute, or 8 or 10 or 12? Like,
I think I was between 6 and 8. As you can see, I'm really breathing heavily. Have to rest a lot in the rack rest position. I think
about 70 reps.
Yeah, but I never really counted. But I think I'm at 6 between 8, something like this. But we'll see. Now letting it run.
Well, that's a.
What would you say?
That's a decent lifting, but there's a few things that I think, just kind of can if they will be fixed, can make it a bit more efficient. So one thing, you're doing this step. To the side for you have 2 different rack positions for jerk and for clean, and well, that's a known technique. Actually, Sergey Rudnev, he was one of the inventors.
I saw it from him. I saw it from Rudnev,
of this technique, and well, his explanation is makes sense, because well, it's actually only the reason why we're standing wide is just to fit 2 bells between our legs. But when it comes to just efficiency of the bump, it's most effective, when legs are shoulder wide, narrow. So that's why, by doing these steps, you basically just allow bells to swing between your legs, but then you're doing jerk with, a jerk portion of the long cycle, how you, do just the jerk only. But what I personally don't like about this, that it's, I think it's kind of just the distraction. I'm a perfectionist, if you can say so. I like to things be well, and for that reason, I'm also very kind of conservative person. Whatever it comes to, like even to food. If I know that this good, I never will get boring with it. If grilled chicken is tasty, I will eat this grilled chicken. It is good for me.
That's it.
So with lifting technique. We're talking here about the cyclistic movements, which is kettlebell sport is, and your results is better as identical 1 rep to another. I always compare, in my head, when I'm thinking about the perfect technique, I'm thinking about guys like swimmers, that's actually, I think, one of the brightest, because I just always impressed how like even every single row they do, and just the direction of the palm, how
it looks perfect,
it goes off the head, it going just few millimeters above the surface, it's always dropped to the same place. They always have a pattern of when they do intake under which arm, every every sort, every fourth row. And you establish it by just living in the water. The swimmers, they just they live in these swimming pools. And with kettlebell lifters, because we're weighting weights, we actually cannot do that much of a volume, but we should try to do as many repetitions as possible. And it's actually related to snatch. It's the lightest exercise of kettlebell sport, and you're actually capable of doing the most amount of repetitions in snatch. And better you do it light, so you'll be really able to do a large amount of repetition, and most likely you will improve your technique a lot and will be precise. Everything will be great.
Think about this.
And now when we're talking about the long cycle, so this step, when you do this step, you basically every single rep allow yourself to stand on one leg when you're dropping 2 bells. And well, of course you can build this skill, and you can actually become quite skilled in it. But still, all these like possible risks, I'd like to remove any possible risk. And let's say for situation when you're exhausted, you're speeding last minute, someone chasing you, there's a risk for you to miss this step, go too wide or get a bit too late. And, that's what you can twist your back, by doing this step. So that's why I'm thinking that it's kind of easier and more kind of solid. And at the end, I think, you will get more benefit from it than loss if you will just pick the average stand. And usually for long cycle, that's as wide as 2 kettlebells. It's not as wide. 2 kettlebells.
That's it. Yeah,
if you can
see it. Yeah.
If you can see it. So it's exact stand, doesn't matter how tall you are, what gender you are. It's 210 millimeters, the diameter of one kettlebell, 420 millimeters, that's the width of the stand in long cycle. Space between your ankles. And it seems like it's less space between your knees, but bells passing the knees on the bottom of the swing when your legs bend. So that's why, again, like rules of the squats, when you're bending your legs, your knees should go out and should
so
be
it's
above
the
your
same
toes.
so
right?
it's this so it's the same when you go into a backswing, when you're in the rack and now you go into the backswing, you push your knees out a little bit.
Yes, of course. The direction of your toes are showing you the direction of your knees. It should match. It should be one plane. It's not good when the plane of your feet doesn't match with direction of your knees. It's kind of, you have this twist in your ankles. You want to avoid it. So usually toes, facing slightly out, and that's the direction of your knees. So from the stand, when you drop, your legs bend, your knees above your toes. So that will be just right space for you to.
And that's it.
To swing the bells. And this stand will be also comfortable enough for your jerk. Even some guys, even my stand, it's quite narrow, and actually when I'm swinging, I'm allowed, my feet roll a little bit to the outside edges, which is probably will not consider it as a classic ideal technique. Well, I'm quite comfortable with it, and the reason for that, again, that I just want to stand as narrow as possible to have a powerful jerk.
And that's something that I understand is when you stand too wide, your jerk is completely different. And actually, what you said is I'm experiencing this. When I go into the backswing with that side step and I'm coming back, I'm always, the step back is always different. Sometimes I'm closer, sometimes I'm wider, and that makes the jerk completely different. And actually the jerk is something,
It's make it random. And that's what
random. That's it.
That's what messed up the establishing of your muscle memory. Your what your body will remember if every next jerk is slightly different. One width of the stance, another width of the stand. So muscle memory getting over on the moment of the stress. When you're nothing like unconscious, things. So in stress situation, last minute or whatever. So as better your muscle memory, as better you will handle the stress situations. So if you will be, consistent and have a clean technique, even, in moments of distraction, you will kind of unconsciously will do the right thing. But if your technique, kind of flowing, from one style to another, even like snatch, one rep you do some back, one snatch you do some forward. So you will be, you might do some mistake, when situation will be, difficult.
And
so that's what
you're mentioning something that really clicks now with me, because that's actually what the long cycle always felt like for me. It always felt like random. It felt like I'm somehow in between, but not safe. Like, boom, that's it.
Yeah. So again, about your lifting, it's one thing is the step thing. It's my personal opinion, and I don't think that it's like a fatal, horrible mistake to do. It's totally possible way to lift. And again, there is some even examples of successful lifters using this style. But my personal opinion, and well, again, most of the long cycle lifters, if you're talking about the percentage, usually just sticking with one width of the stance for swing and for clean. So you might, at least in my eye, I think it's something that might be changed just to stick with a consistent stand and don't move anywhere. And the second thing is that you're adjusting your rack position. When you clean, you kind of you land bells on your chest, and then you're like adjusting elbows a little bit. So well, it's again, this rest will be counted. It's fairly well, acceptable style to lift, but it's not efficient exactly, because if you're talking about the perfect technique, there's the exact order of these phases. And when you clean, first insertion, then elbows on the pelvis, and then rack position and shoulder, kettlebells to shoulder connection. You cannot change the order of the things. Only what you can do,
again, the
insertion, elbows landing, shoulder touch. Shoulder touch and lock. And the most common mistake is when guys do hand insertion, shoulders and elbows as the
That's
last
actually
thing.
what I'm doing. That's what I'm.
That's what makes it, looks like roll through the shoulders. And actually, that's what can make IUKL judges upset. IUKL and WKCF, because it's kind of considering, it's just not a clean lifting, and you even might have a warnings or no counts for that. Depends how long you will do this, roll. So that's why it's a good thing to do, is to practice, elbows landing right away, and then shoulders.
Elbows landing right away.
So you insert your hands, you land your elbows. When elbows landed, that's it. Then it's easy part. You just, connect elbows and shoulders, straight your legs. And actually, that's a good way to do the drop also. When you first disconnect kettlebells and shoulders.
Yeah.
Then you drop.
Then, all right.
And eventually, actually, you will be able to make it look like a one operation, and it looks like motion. One piece, insertion and elbows and shoulder touch. But it's something that you need to understand and feel. That even maybe microseconds, but still, the
are you actually
landing,
are you actually sorry, are you actually tightening your biceps when the backswing's finished? You go into the swing, then the acceleration pull, hand insertion. Are you actually tightening your biceps, or are you using momentum only?
The moment I'm pulling the bells. It's doing some work, but it's not the major work of the arms. That's what's important to understand. So the power of accelerating pull, going from counterbalance. So that's what makes kettlebell move at first place. So that's why I swing kettlebell forward, making some space. Make sure that the scales, that your body counterbalancing bells. You're shifting weight on the very edge of your heels. That's what make it fly, and you starting with the straight arms. But as soon as you make the move, well, you're engaging your arms to correct the trajectory of kettlebells, and then actually return your body back to vertical position to get this insertion done. Because this counterbalance thing, it's also what sometimes makes poor rack when guys doing this counterbalance and pull, but then they waiting bells here, and that's how you ending up with bells on your chest, and then you need to go back. So the missing part is you counterbalance, and then well, you're using these bells actually as the handles to pull your body
Oh, I like that.
forward again, right? So you counterbalance, you pull it, and then you need to go back towards bells, meet them, and get insertion with your body upright. And that's what allows you to land elbows on your pelvis properly. You know, you want to place your shoulder above your pelvis when you do insertion. You don't want to be leaned back when you insert, because you will. That's how you will miss the direct position.
So it's bell coming back, acceleration pull, hand insertion, elbows land, pelvis on the pelvis, and then you rack the kettlebell and lock it.
Yeah.
Right.
So, you know, it's a good drill to practice, not a full clean, but only swing, accelerating pull, and insertion and elbow landing without completing the rack. You're basically just tapping your stomach and insertion like that. That one makes you to. That's the most kind of important part of the clean. That's the keystone of the clean. When insertion done and elbows landed, that's it. That's the easy part, to straighten your legs and make the lock and connect kettlebells to
I like
shoulders.
that you say it's the easy part. I'm burning my legs when I'm in the rack rest position. I'm straightening my legs. Wow, my quads are burning when I'm in the rack rest.
Well,
I really feel the burn.
My legs not resting fully in the rack position either, and that's something that first it's kind of level of your mobility and range of motion might be improved, might get better, but it's also a personal, individual anatomy of your own body. And honestly, like at least what I see, it's very few athletes who can completely lock their knees and relax quads and stand in the rack. It requires a great, mobility of the pelvis cuffs here. And most of the lifters, they, still kind of keep quads engaged, but only the, toe fixation. That's the actually phase where you can
rest.
Relax.
I feel that, quads. And I feel that. I got that from you.
Yeah.
And
another
the resting in the overhead top fixation.
Another spot is when you do a good backswing, and when you're straightening your legs, that's actually can also give you a little bit of a relief for your quads on the kind of bottom back part of the backswing.
Really
a little bit here, but mostly that's a solid top fixation. So actually, there are benefits in longer top fixation. Because if you do it right with your elbows locked, you're able actually to first breathe, and second, you can reset your quads.
And you mentioned that in an Instagram post, I remember. You said that. That's a great thing about the overhead top fixation. Now, how about showing you the snatch? Let me check this and wonder what is this? I think it's a 28 kilo snatch. I feel I'm pretty solid. I feel solid, especially with my right hand. My left hand is tricky a little bit, but I think with my right hand I'm feeling solid. So I'm giving you just an impression of my left arm.
That's 28.
That's a 28. Yeah.
What's your best?
32, but just for 2 minutes.
32 total or 32 per hand?
32 per hand. All right, one left, one right. Did it actually in this workout? I did it because we always do stream live workouts. I did it in the last round. I think I picked up the 32, but it was.
Well, that's a decent technique, but it's kettlebell sports snatch is connected very tight to training methodology. It's because of the things I was mentioning before, because of its cyclicity factor, because of importance of precision and technique, and muscle memory. You need larger amount of repetitions and less weight. So
I like that. Getting there.
My first thought, watching your lifts is, okay, what's your best snatch with 16, 10 minutes? What's your best snatch with 18, with 20? And actually, the way how I did my first breakthrough in snatch, when I've discovered this 2 kilo increment by Coach Rudiv. Actually, he's an inventor of this. Another thing is 2 kilo increment, which changed methodology. So all over the world of kettlebell sport preparation, everyone using it now. That's totally brilliant thing for both technique improvement and result improvement. So when first time, I just did, just as simple as it is, every single training 10-minute set, starting with 16. So first training Monday 10 minutes with 16, Wednesday 10 minutes with 18, Friday 10 minutes with 20s, and with 2 kilo increment you've got to 32s, and I get extra 30 reps to my PR by doing just that.
Just
so
still always working with the lighter weights, right? So
always.
If I may just interrupt you for a quick second, and that you understand why we do that stuff. I feel I'm slow with the snatch, but in these live workouts, sometimes we get the vibe because we do a full workout. Then it's not about the competition vibe in a sense, but I'm still using that methodology of snatching like that because I love it. So it's not about going faster. It's about using heavier weight to challenge me. You see what I'm saying? Because when I do these workouts, I know I can start easy go with 2024 and be safe. So your recommendation would be, hey, doesn't matter if you want to get a good workout in or not, go down with the weight and improve the technique and then jump up.
Well, easy. I honestly, there is no easy kettlebell sport workout in absolute measure. Like you will say, 24s, it's easy. Pace 25. Go pace 25 reps a minute. And it will be 16s and go 30 reps a minute.
Yeah, of course.
That's how it will be really hard.
Not with the
snatches.
But not with the workout sense of a kettlebell sport workout. With the workout sense like we do it, because we do just 2 minutes. And that's it. With the way we work out.
Okay.
No, you misunderstood. Oh, not the kettlebell sport method of a workout, because the 24 would kill me. Just in that sense, because it's
your just question was to give you tips about kettlebell sport technique, and if we're talking about the effectivity of preparation for kettlebell sport, which is 10-minute set. Well, that's why I'm giving you this advice about the lightest weights, and for sure that's the way to improve your technique. The workout you do is again, kind of, will be correct to say like a strength conditioning circuit training workout, right? Where you probably integrate kettlebell sport exercise to the circuit of different exercises. You probably I don't know, can do some jump squats after that, or some push-ups, and you 2 minutes of each. And you can do that because you've learned kettlebell sport technique. Like you have some other spot for it, and you did this light weights, and that's why your snatch looks so good. But it's not something that makes your kettlebell sport better. That's something that actually makes you work out. But
and just judging from my right side now, snatching the right side, really looking forward to your feedback on my right side, because the right side feels way better, just compared with the left side.
Can you scroll and can you show me your left one more time?
Yeah. Because it just to reiterate, it doesn't feel, my left side doesn't feel as strong and as nice as the right side. I still
it's quite identical. Your style for right and left arm, you're twisting your thumb back on the back swing, but on your left you also just, not every rep, but some of the reps you allow kind of yourself turning to the side, and I don't think that you should do it. You should when you snatch,
go straight.
You should try to be kind of as symmetrical as possible, and snatch will never be totally symmetrical because it's one kettlebell, obviously one shoulder lower than another, and it's still pulling you bit to the side, but you don't think I think you don't need to overkill it, and you don't need to really kind of pushing body even more to the side. You kind of be trying to stand facing forward, trying to look forward, and body having some momentum and twisting to the side, but don't let it go completely.
So and
try to use your both legs and left and right side of your back. Try to be more symmetrical.
And here, and this is something is great inputs, and something that I always do is I'm trying to straighten my legs, in the backswing, but actually I feel stronger when they're a little bent. So what would be your feedback? No, man, straighten your legs because that's the best way to do. Or
it's again, you see, it's 20. It's not a great bells to work on technique. It's just heavy, and that's why that's what makes it. You feel safer when you're not fully straight your legs, because the gravity actually going down with this 20 kilograms.
That's a fact.
Overall speaking, generally myself, if I'm not fully locking my knees when I do long cycle with two bells, it's still slightly bent. I actually feel like it's just making me have a better, smoother transaction from the backswing to swing forward when I still kind of keep muscles engaged. So it's straighter than the middle of the swing, but it's not fully locked, my knees. When I'm fully locked my knees, it feels like a little bit of a kick that kind of stopping the momentum and just make the you lock and then you unlock. It's kind of makes it a little bit sharp, the transition from the backswing to swing forward. So I'm stopping just a little bit before the straightening. And same in snatch, I'm not fully locking it in, but whatever issues, whatever things you want to improve in snatch, you need the efficiency of technique can be tested by fatigue, endurance fatigue. So 30 reps, 20 reps you can perform in any style, and it will be difficult for you to notice the difference even. But it will be like this long sets with the light kettlebell. It's almost like a self fixing process, because kettlebells light, you're not scared of them, but it's almost can get boring at some point. You're doing let's say, even with light belts, like let's say if it's very light, I can recommend sometimes just go 16-minute set snatch. Like you feel 16 kilogram boring, so go 16-minute set, 8 minutes per side. And then like somewhere on the middle, like minute number 4-5, you'll just maybe realize that you do some moves that don't actually helping you, but just distracting you. You will say, okay, why I'm twisting this thumb? I just want to just drop it. You will start noticing, okay, what can I do to breathe better, to relax my arm better, and you might just have slight adjustments in the trajectory, even this leg situation. You maybe feel like you really want to lock them, because you will be able to reset your legs, or you feel like it's something that will really help you. So that's how it works. You need to improve your technique on 28s, you need to drop to 16s and make this progression again. So it's the way how it works, this whole technique thing is you, among all of the issues you have, you pick one that you hate the most, that bothering you the most, you're focusing on it, and you should put on it training cycle, which is like 8 weeks at least. So basically the amount of times that allows you to go from I can say even 12 kilogram will be a good weight for you to start, even maybe not 16, but at least couple trainings, maybe 6 and 10 minutes set, just 2 trainings on 12s, last training 10 minutes, and just with 2 kilo increment. Go through 12s, 14s, 16s, 18s, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28. And that amount of time, that experience, this thousands of repetitions will change your technique for good, and that's what will makes you feel comfortable doing the straight legs on 28s. Not because you heard it from me or you think about it, but because it will be sealed by thousands of repetitions, tested that it's actually the thing that you want to do. So it's again, it's maybe might sound less exciting and boring and too long, but well, that's what I call, I don't know.
Keep working
so, professional approach. It's a big deal. Technique. That's something that you invest in it, and then it keeps you running. So you cannot just fix it in a minute, by your will or something. You need to reprogram your body, your mind and your habits. And habits, that's deeper in our mind. So
it takes longer.
But again, it's like, if you're talking in your sport career, it's enough time. And if you look on my lifting, like 12 years ago, 13 years of my first world championship, you will see that it's totally different technique. And that's what I was doing. Each training cycle, I was picking something to improve. 2 months,
like
2 months, and in 10 years.
That's where you're getting.
I'm almost took care of most of the things. Still something, but that's how it works. But that's what I call being a professional, specialized. So I'm just I'm digging to this particular direction, just only these few exercises, and maybe that's what makes me advance in it, because that's my main priority.
Because you're proficient on these not on everything, but you focus and hone in on these 3 exercises in that case, which makes it so perfect, and which makes me want to develop my style and become better, not for the sake of competing, but the sake of just understanding the kettlebell, teaching it to our clients, and just loving it for the workout, because we love working with them. And as a closing statement, Denis, what would you say when it comes to reps? Because we always say there are some differences. You see some lifters have a little bit of a different technique than others, which sometimes is anthropometrics and how your body is built. I do understand that. But what is your take on this? Would you say, hey, listen, a snatch, a jerk, a long cycle, whatever, it has to look a certain way? When you look at my technique, for example, I have a lot of things that I have to work on, but just as a basic feedback, would you say, nah, you have to follow that line and everybody has to stay in that area, or else it's things that you have to improve? What's your take on that?
Once again, you're talking about the technique conditions or repetitions?
Just individual differences, because people are built differently, and sometimes you may say, okay, this guy or this gal is doing the snatch differently because, or it looks a little different. You see, that's what I want to say.
Well, each technique element serve for purpose in sports. So whatever, we, let's say, like snatch, whatever technique drills we're sharing, it serve a purpose to save the grip. Having a smooth transaction from backswing to swing forward, counterbalance, that's something that makes your grip survive longer. So as long as your grip not again for snatch, if you never get to muscle reps in snatch, if you manage 5 minutes per side, doesn't matter how it looks, it obviously means that you have a great technique because it works for you. It serves the purpose. Your grip is handling 5 minutes, handling the pace. That's all what we need. Result. Static phase, let's say, to your rep be counted, you also should be able to demonstrate straight arm, straight legs, at the top. If you can do that, that's good enough. If we're talking about the long cycle and jerk, so besides the grip, we need rest in the rack position. So obviously, if person cannot rest in the rack, that's something you cannot go without. You cannot keep progressing without fixing your rack position. So that's for sure very important element, and you need to get it done before you will start loading more on this person, more weight, longer sets, because it just, without rack position, you will not be able to handle the volumes of kettlebell sport. Actually, long cycle is more forgiving than jerk. like everything I said is actually for sure 100% related to jerk. If there is no rock position,
Yes.
it's just will turn to torture the jerk. Long cycle, because of the clean portion, actually might go okay. You know, even if you cannot rest in the rack, at least the fact that you can swing the bell and stretch your arms a little bit, it will help you to survive a bit longer. But it basically will allows you a bit more time to fix, you know, your mobility issues. And you still will be able to do workout, but it's for sure rack position, that's the priority. Head insertion, you know, no tension in your hand, you know, it should be deep enough, fingers relaxed. Top fixation should be enough mobility in your shoulder and your elbow to demonstrate those static phases. Rack position, top fixation, well, and proper hand insertion. That's the components you need you need to enter the kettlebell sport routine. And then when you enter kettlebell sport routine with this basic knowledge of or basic skill of, you know, at least, you know, fairly, you know, close to good rack position, toe fixation, hand insertion, you start going through workouts, and then you look on time, you know, can you handle the time, you know, can you get 10 minutes set? So if you got 10 minutes set, that's actually another stage, you know, and possibility for you to move to the next level and try it with the heavier bells. But well, how say, like for to secure the success, it should be also decent amount of repetitions. And I think actually I had this chart even on my Instagram, and like I think if it comes to long cycle, 60 reps, that's at least the number you can get in 10 minutes. If you cannot handle 60 reps, which is space 6, it means that kettlebell is too heavy for you. You just for sure needs to drop. And then if you get 70 reps, well, 70 reps is a good enough number to move on 2 kilogram heavier bells.
I saw that chart on your Instagram.
Yeah. So well, that's the thing. So if person did 70 reps long cycle, and it wasn't much struggle and falling apart, you know, if technique was quite decent and stable from the beginning to the end, it will be safe to move to next weight. And with this new weight, ideally, you know, also should work till the point where it will be 70 reps of this new weight. And then you can move on heavier weights. If it's not 70, then reset this person to start weight again, wherever it starts. And then, you know, it will be after 70, maybe it will be 80 reps, and then again try the heavier weights, and that most likely will be 70, and then you can do another step, you know, like to another 2
that's
kilograms.
what, you know, and that's what I actually love, just cracking those 10 minutes for the first time with the 16 it was, then it was with the 20, and now I'm challenging myself to get it with the 24, because like I showed you in these workouts, we're just doing these basic workouts where we do 3 exercises, 2 minutes each, unbroken, with 1 minute rest, and then we do 3 or 4 rounds. So that's the workout on YouTube. And just my regular workouts that I do in the competition style is, I was just happy that I cracked the snatch with the 20. We even did a marathon where we were working just 60 minutes with kettlebells. I chose a 16. Angie chose a 8 kilo where we didn't put the kettlebell down, and we had 4 exercises. So, and that's just for you to understand, maybe, even though I'm not doing the athletic side of things and want to compete, I just love the sports style. It's so interesting to me, and it's so nuanced. That's why it's like an art form compared to other styles, or compared to the hardstyle. That's why I'm so eager to learn about it. And it's just, it was a real pleasure. Just I took a lot of your time now, Denis. I think we have some common passion about the kettlebell, and I really want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. Well, of course I paid you, but at the end of the day, it's just you shared so much knowledge. Now I'm resetting my aim now a little bit, now with even with the workouts on YouTube. I'm thinking now with the next live workouts that we're going to do, I'm just using a 20 solid for all workouts. a 20 kilo, just because I like that aspect of these thousands of reps, death by 1,000 cuts, just to really hammer the technique home. Because like you said in the snatch, this is what I thought as well. It's the gravitational pull of the 28, hence why I'm bending my knees. But I really want to lock out the knees in the backswing.
It actually will make it's also safer, because at the end you actually get same volume. You know, you like 30 reps with 28, and well, let's say 30 to 30. That's what 900 kilograms, and then if you will do it, with 14 kilograms, 60 reps. If my mathematics is wrong, it gives you the same total weight you lift over your head. And it's maybe will be a little bit longer workout, maybe, but it gives you at the end same result, but with less risk, because each rep this way will be twice as safer, because it's twice as lighter. So that's again, that's another reason why this kettlebell sport workout is so popular, because it's actually quite safe because of its flexibility. You don't need to push any particular direction. You don't need to get maximum stroke, because you can cover it with your endurance, or with your flexibility, with your mental toughness. That's why.
The mental toughness that you just mentioned, that's also something that I really love about this type of training, because putting the kettlebell down, racking it, resting it, staying focused, calming yourself, even though you want to put it down and stop. I like that aspect.
So the way, that's the thing you're pushing the last. To make your workout harder, the first thing you do is you increasing the pace. Second thing you do, you can shorten the rest intervals between sets if it's a multiple set workout. And only if you've done all of that, well, then you can increase the weight, but do a short increment, 2 kilograms, not more. And again, the same thing with new weight, just get most of it. Get the time. When you get the time, increase the pace. When you increase the pace, shorten the rest intervals. And when it's all done and it's still cool and technique stable, get another 2 kilograms on top of it. The last thing to say also is, I totally understand when people have several patients. A patient, it's not like you must be kettlebell lifter or no one else. And that's even I'm meeting it's quite often the tier of 2 sports, because I have experience with working with coaches from other sports like fencing, volleyball, Krav Maga, and these guys doing kettlebell sport as their GPP. They still, whoever they are, fencers, fighters at the first place, but they feel benefits from kettlebell sport. And in this situation, you just, to not mess up, and to not make any mistakes or hurt yourself accidentally, you just probably shouldn't cross this line of this professional division, right? So like if you do it as the secondary thing, kettlebell, so just probably, just be careful and maybe stay, 24 kilograms or lighter. Well, at least,
like that.
Your confidence level, and even intensity. Again, if that's your second thing to do, so do it with the lighter weights, or at least the weights that not put too much stress on you. And even, if you do it even once a week, twice a week, well, of course, it's you will feel some benefit from it, and it will do some work. You shouldn't expect too much of a progress, by doing it, half effort and half only, but it still will meet your needs, and you will for sure will have a better technique, and especially if you're doing it on top of your other activities. That's totally acceptable, totally work. I mean, just to say that I think what you do is great. You're running the gym, you're training, you're trying different training methods and programs, and for you being a good coach in kettlebell sport, it's not, you don't need to be a champion to be a good coach. It's rather it's rather rare, thing when coach and athlete, when athlete is a good coach, because well, to understand the process, you for sure wants to have experience.
Yes.
What it's like, but
Yes.
well, we're talking like even being a decent amateur, and have experience of like 10 minutes on 24s for men, that's on top of the just a good
Yes.
coach mind can be enough to generate a good training programs and deliver a good training programs and teaching to students.
And that's actually where I'm at. I probably consider myself just an amateur with considered in the sport division, probably, or like we said, in the rank 1, rank 2, somewhere around there. And I'm totally fine. I'm happy with it. But I just love it. We use the sports style, this method of training, because I love it. And we help people lose weight. We help people get in shape. We help people get accustomed to a kettlebell. As you see now in the world, it's one of the best training equipments. You can take it anywhere. And people can work out at home with it. It's just, it's an awesome tool. And Denis, hey, thank you so much for your time. It's eye-opening. I do understand some aspects now way better, and just about the history and all that stuff. And I'll probably book another one soon if you're open to it. And
absolutely.
Once I got both interviews, I think it's 2 hours long both. I will send you via WeTransfer, right? And you can chop it up, use it however you want it. That's totally fine with us. And we will use it if like you said in the email, like I typed in the email, we will use it probably some bits and pieces on YouTube, if that's okay for you, probably some social media, and we will always link your stuff to it.
Yeah. That will be the best. I always feel like that's to follow the idea and intention of the generator of ideas, so you have some idea in your mind, and I'm totally with you, and you're totally free to use it and give it some promotion. Well, again, just if it will be on public, just tag me so I will see it, and I will repost it and comment on it and stuff like that. So it's first of all, it's I'm doing it for you to use it, but I just will get it for my collection.
That's great. Thank you very much, Denis.
Okay, my friend, was a great pleasure.
Yes, thank you very much. Bye.